Alright. Hello, hello. Wait, do people not know the chapter is out? Are people not aware? What's going on? Hello, hello? Early? Yep. R.I.P. Garp? I don't think Garp dies here. I don't think Garp dies here. I think that there's a solid... Oda really doesn't kill that easily. I don't see Garp dying. I'm just gonna say that. I really don't see Garp just dying like that. 30 minutes early? Oh, shit. You know why? Wait a second. Wait, you know what? Oh my god, you guys didn't know. Oh, wait, 30 minutes early? I'm not early. Wait, I'm accidentally early. This is crazy. You know why? Because I'm in a different time zone. I'm in a different time zone. You guys don't understand. I'm actually pretty late. But because I'm in a different time zone. Oh my god, this is hilarious. This is so funny. I'm accidentally on time because of the time zones. That's awesome. All right, so I love when things just work out. Um. Anyway, guys, like the stream. Let's like the stream. Man, that's awesome. Oh, people enjoyed the Chainsaw Man video. Yeah, I was very happy. Okay, here's what happens every time. Um. Okay, I'm not even going to push the new channel much. I don't think I'm going to talk about it this stream. I'll talk about it real quick, and then we're good. So, all right, let me address a few things in order. One, I'm not supposed to still be at my parents' house. My flight yesterday got canceled. It got basically I have a connect. Supposed to have one flight in the morning that connects to another flight. The first flight got delayed 6 hours. Basically, I can't make the connecting flight. My flight yesterday done, canceled, couldn't make it. So I'm stuck here. And turns out it's really, really hard to book last minute flights during this window between like yesterday to New Year's. So I've got a new flight scheduled for Saturday. Got a new flight scheduled for Saturday. It's supposed to land pretty late. So I don't know if I'm going to be able to celebrate New Year's properly with, with people and stuff like that. So I'm kind of bummed out. I'm pretty bummed out about that. But there's a lot of flight issues going around in general for a lot of people. Mine's not the worst, I suppose, but and I will probably be able to make it in time for New Year's Eve, assuming there's no cancellations or delays or anything like that on Saturday. But yeah, I'm stuck here longer than I thought. Stream scheduled for the wrong times and stuff like that. Still in the wrong mindset for time zones. I'm glad. Okay, so I'm happy that so many people love the Chainsaw Man video. One of my favorite things was seeing like a lot of the comments saying that it was the best Chainsaw Man analysis that they'd seen. I see that from a lot of comments, and I don't want to jinx it or anything like that, but I can already see the YouTube algorithm has started pushing it to new people. So basically, the way it works, there's the initial surge of people that I'm pushing there, then enough people are watching it, liking it, enjoying it, commenting, etc., engaging that I see YouTube has started pushing it to new people. So I see lots of people who have never heard of me in the newer comments. There are lots of people who have never heard of me saying that they think that this is the best Chainsaw Man analysis they've seen. So I'm excited about that. The process when I'm making an analysis video, I never know how it's going to be received because for me, I've worked on it for so long that it stopped being interesting to me. Like, by the time the whole video is done, I don't even know if other people will find it interesting because I've spent so long on it that none of the observations or points or anything like that feel new or fresh to me as they were when I first was taking them down in notes while rereading the manga, right? So when I'm rereading the manga to take notes for the video and everything, um, at that point, like, everything feels fresh and new, and I'm like, oh, wait, this connects to this, and this seems like a cool thing, and this connects to this, and stuff like that, right? By the time you're done writing the whole script, editing, like, the editing's done, you've watched multiple drafts of it and stuff like that, I'm just like, is this even a fucking good video? So that happens for every single analysis video. Every single video I've ever done on Morj, obviously this one on Manga Morj, etc., I'm just always really unsure. By the time it's ready to come out, I'm just like, This is just boring. But it was really, really good to see a lot of people saying that it was not only the best Chainsaw Man video they've seen, but the best video I've made, period. And I do think it's the best video I've made, period. Just because I put a lot of effort into it because it's a new channel and stuff like that. So anyway, it's in a good spot right now. It had its initial surge, right? And now it's getting the new surge, which is the good surge, which is YouTube has started pushing it out for new people. So hopefully I don't expect any crazy views or anything up for it because it's brand new, but it is rolling along pretty nicely now and it's getting its nice push into the algorithm and stuff, so should be good. Bosty Jimbei says, hey Parvision, this is my first time watching you live. Thanks, yeah. Appreciate it. Hawkins says, first big prediction. I think Garp is going to pull up to Hachinosu, gather the troops like Law, Kobe, and Aokiji. Oh, dude, Garp and Aokiji, I'm so stupid. I'm so stupid. Hold on, let me put a note. I've got a good video coming. Hold on. I got a good video coming. 1 second. I've got a good video coming after this chapter. I'm excited for this chapter. This chapter was fun. Garp is going to pull up to... So Hawkins is saying, Garp is going to pull up, gather the troops like Law, Kobe, Aokiji, possibly Smoker, and Tashigi from G14, similar to Luffy rounds up unlikely allies. That's so cool. Yeah, if all the good guy Marines line up there, in a way, that would be awesome. And then Luffy and Luffy probably gathering up his own allies in a separate direction. That'd be great. Akash Panda says, if the lineage factor affects behavior to some extent, then was the world government justified in persecuting Ace because he carried Roger's blood? No, I don't think, because Ace... No, I don't think so. I mean, okay, here's the funny thing. Yes, the world government is technically right. That's the thing that's not addressed, in that they're technically right, in that, yeah, if they'd left Ace go unchecked, he would have probably, that was the path that he was being sent on. He was supposed to become the next Pirate King and everything like that. Whitebeard was grooming him to be that guy, and, yeah, if the world government hadn't stopped him, he would have basically been Luffy before Luffy, right? Wherever we see Luffy at right now, that would have been Ace, basically, right? So, that's interesting. That's a big deal. Hold on. 1 sec. Okay. Sorry, just some notes. Anyway. So, but I don't think that they mean lineage factors in that sense. I mean, here, yeah, the lineage factors matter, but with the Shichibukai, or the Seraphim specifically, these are literal clones. Ace is not a clone of Roger, right? Ace is not exactly the same as Roger. That being said, Ace was shaping up to be a real problem for the Marines, wasn't he? He was set to be the flagship pirate for the next generation, so the world government was technically right. The world government was technically right. Chainsaw Man video was so good. Yeah, thanks. I really appreciate that. Yeah, really appreciate the kind words about the Chainsaw Man video. Because I was unsure. That was the first real big analysis I'd done on a manga that wasn't One Piece, you know? So I'm happy that people enjoyed it. Sure, Flaffy. Thanks for being a Yonko tier member for 3 months. Apologies if this has been asked already, but what do you think about Bakin being the final member of Mads, with Weevil being her Whitebeard clone? Oh, I'm on the Stussy train just because it looks like that. But that would be really cool. If it's Bakin, that would be awesome. And, Weevil being her Whitebeard clone, that's a brilliant theory. Brilliant theory. I like it, Sheriff Flappy. Garrett Clark, welcome to the Yonko. The best tier there is. Phantom Greyfire saying, nice to see Morj's setup improving. KFR Cohen, thanks for being a Yonko tier member for 3 months. Dude, how come Lucci got smacked by Luffy, but next chapter says, I don't recognize Straw Hat as a Yonko. When will Luffy get his respect? Okay, so 2 things here. We all know what that is. That's salt, right? That's straight up, that's Lucci just being salty, right? That's just Lucci being salty. There's nothing else to it than that. We've all been there, right? You play video games or something like that, or sports, or whatever, some competition, whatever it might be. Let's say you're playing video games, you lose to somebody or whatever, you're just salty, right? You're like, that was BS. That was even if you get especially if you get really outplayed really hard, right? You're just like, that was BS. We run that back out of 1 or whatever. That's just, that's just salt, right? I like it, honestly. I like that Lucci's not giving Luffy his props like that. But this does go to my broader point, which is just I said towards the very beginning of this arc, and a lot of people complained about me saying this, which was that Luffy does not feel like he's. I don't feel like Luffy's getting Yonko respect. People were just like, "Oh, it's so cool that Luffy's a Yonko now." I said, "It's cool that Luffy's a Yonko now, but he's not. It's almost as though the title is just for show because nobody treats him like a Yonko, right?" That was evident from Green Bull. That was evident from Bonnie showing up and being like, "I don't think you're like. There's no way you're actually a Yonko," right? That was evident from Lucci right now, right? You can say it's salt. I'm saying it's salt, obviously, but I'm saying across the board in general, consistently, almost nobody gives him respect for being a Yonko, right? The only dude that kind of does is Akainu, and that's because Akainu turned out to be a really by-the-book, pencil-pushing nerd. Who would have guessed it? Who basically is like, well, it says in the manual that he's a Yonko, so we can't do anything. It says right here in the book. So I don't even count Akainu in that sense. This dude is the most, the most, I don't know, by-the-book stickler you'll ever see. So we don't even count him, right? The normal person, Bonnie, Green Bull, Lucci, like people, other people that matter that aren't so fucking rigid with their technicalities and stuff like that, they don't treat Luffy with Yonko respect. That's why I think that this arc is really, really important. This was something that I talked about in the last video I released. I think that this arc is really, really important for Luffy busting up some shit with regards to the world government, basically stealing Vegapunk right from under their nose, tearing through all of the marine barricades they set up, the CP0 stuff, the Seraphim, etc. If he does that and gets away with it, the world government, like, there's going to be a different level of respect. Because the reality is that whatever happened in Wano, they don't know the details, and it was a closed-off nation. It was a very closed-off conflict. So all they know is that, okay, Luffy came out of it, Kaido went down. We don't know the details, but it seems like Luffy's really strong now. He's got a strong crew, strong fleet, etc. Okay, we got to call him a Yonko. But this is something that the world government has heavy, there's eyes on this, right? This is the main focus of the world government at the moment, right? Everybody's watching this. Akainu, Kizaru's going to be there, CP0 is there, everybody's there, right? There is no question that whatever happens here is going to elevate Luffy significantly in terms of the eyes of the world government, in terms of respect. So I think that's huge. Guys, let's get the stream likes up to 200. Let's get it up to 200. Straw Hat Shako says, do you think the person Vegapunk called for help is real Kuma? He could have swapped Kuma's brain info into a satellite like he did to himself, and that's why he told Bonnie he can't undo it. Oh, that would be so interesting. There's some interesting ideas going around right here. I like it. That'd be really interesting. That'd be really, really interesting. Great idea. That'd be fun. I also think it's too harsh for... I think it'd be a little harsh for Oda to have just killed Kuma off permanently like that, you know? So, I did always feel like there's some way that he could come back, but transferring the brains, that's perfect. And it's not even an odd thing to do, because we've seen Vegapunk do that to himself, right? Captain Face says, hey Morj, just wanted to say I love... Okay, Captain Face says, hey Morj, first of all, thanks for the 20. Appreciate it. Just wanted to say I love the Chainsaw Man video. It is a true contribution to the Chainsaw Man community and increase my appreciation of the series. Can you hint at series you will cover? Berserk, Vinland, or How to Write Manga Vids? Okay, I really, really appreciate all the kind words for Chainsaw Man. I'm not even going to push people towards that video because the YouTube algorithm has already started doing that. So honestly, if you're not interested in Chainsaw Man stuff, don't even go bother with it. You'll fuck with the algorithm, okay? If you really want to watch a good Chainsaw Man analysis, then sure, go over there and watch it. But don't go over just to screw around, because the channel's in a precarious spot right now. YouTube algorithm's pushing it to normal, people who don't know me, which is a nice feeling. I would like that to happen as organically as possible. So we're just gonna let that roll, basically. But if you do want to watch a really good Chainsaw Man analysis, I say it's a really good Chainsaw Man analysis. But seriously, I've gotten tremendously positive feedback for it. I think a lot of people are saying that it's helped open their eyes up to a lot of things in the series. I think it's really good because I watched other Chainsaw Man videos before this, and I felt like they were all kind of just random shit. I don't know. Not random shit, but they're missing good chunks of it, or they got like different parts of it or whatever. As for other series that I'm going to cover, so don't expect, I don't want to promise people the wrong thing. Don't expect 45-minute videos, analyses on various series like that week after week. That's not going to happen, okay? That was a big video to launch it. From here on, it's going to be shorter videos, right? Shorter videos Shorter videos, aiming for about 2 videos a week, and it'll be covering variety series. So we're starting simple. So it is going to start with Chainsaw Man, obviously. I think the next video we're dropping is also Chainsaw Man. I want to squeeze in a Hunter x Hunter video soon, because we've got a good concept for it. And then beyond that, it's going to be tackling other series like JoJo's. Once it gets rolling, that's one that I'm really excited to start covering. JoJo's Part 9. So JoJo's probably Jujutsu Kaisen. Don't hate me, it's just because it's popular, I gotta do it, alright? I like Jujutsu Kaisen to a degree, but it's just what it is. No spoilers for any of these series in the comments below, by the way. I feel like sometimes I'm bad at mentioning don't mention spoilers. Yeah, Jujutsu Kaisen. Berserk, I will try. Vinland, I will try. Berserk, I just have no interest in at this point, to be honest, because I personally don't like the way that the direction of the story is going. One Punch Man, possibly, depending on how the new arc takes off. There's like a list of series that I want to cover, and it's going to be dependent on what series is the most interesting at any given point in time, basically, that I'll be putting effort into videos for that week. So it's going to be, the goal is really to keep it a variety channel. And one more thing, let me mention this before I get back to talking about One Piece. One more thing. Lots of people were saying, why didn't you put this on the One Piece channel? Why didn't you put this on the One Piece channel? They're like, this is close enough content to One Piece, you should have just done this. Trust me, I have talked to enough people to understand what I'm supposed to do here. You are correct if you think that if I started adding a bunch more manga to the One Piece channel and covering those other series, that eventually it would break through and the algorithm would finally understand that I no longer just do One Piece content. However, I've also talked to enough people to know that this takes a tremendous amount of time and basically grind work where your channel will take a significant hit for a long period of time because the algorithm is confused as to what you are doing. So the two options are keep One Piece as it is, its own silo, and then work on a separate channel on the side, which organically will grow as variety content, or fuck up the One Piece channel for like a year, and then eventually it'll balance out and grow. Okay? I would have gone with that other option. I would have taken that risk if not for the fact that there are other people that rely on the One Piece channel to do well. So it's not just me, okay? There's like a whole mini little, it's not huge, but there's a mini economy that's attached to this One Piece channel, okay? There's myself, there's my editor, right, who has a percentage of the channel. There's our thumbnail guy, who we pay every week, right? We need to be able to keep regularly paying him. We have a virtual assistant. We have an images guy, if you guys remember the whole contest that we had for the images person to get there. There's a lot of stuff that's relying on the One Piece channel to do well. There's the Morj Unleashed channel, right, that is reliant on the One Piece channel doing well to send viewers over there and stuff. There's a whole mini economy. So I can't, like, if it was just me, then sure. Fuck up the One Piece channel for a year. It'll balance out eventually. It'll be okay. I don't care, right? But there's other people that are reliant on it. I can't just be like, all right, we're going to screw around with this channel. Maybe we got to cut this person, that person, or whatever, because however the channel's changed. It's just not fair. And it's also just like, I could just start this separate thing here and have it grow organically, and I'm ready to do the grind for that. So that's the preference. Sheriff Lafitte says, Rayleigh was pretty sure Blackbeard could beat him. It'll be cool to see how Garp measures up and what the gap is. I'm going to say something which I don't know is possibly, might be a bit of a downer, but I don't know if we're going to see Garp versus Blackbeard, because it's entirely possible Blackbeard is not at Beehive Island at this moment in time. I think, because on the one hand, I don't see Blackbeard taking out Garp. I don't see Blackbeard killing Garp. It's hard to, like, Blackbeard didn't want to fuck with Rayleigh. Would he also treat Garp with the same level of respect? Probably at least the same level of respect, right? I just don't know if Oda's going to show us a full confrontation between those two characters this early, but I've been completely wrong about that in terms of, like, what Oda's willing to have Blackbeard do. I mean, he had Blackbeard snatch Law a few chapters ago. I'll just say I think it's entirely possible that we don't see Garp versus Blackbeard, but rather we see Garp and maybe someone we haven't seen in action yet. Maybe Shiryu or something like that, right? Blackbeard doesn't necessarily have to be at Beehive Island, but I think we could still get a really good action scene or fight or some level of hype out of Garp, right? I just don't know if we're at a point in the story where something really terrible is going to happen, like Garp dies. I don't know. Because, come on, we know how hesitant Oda is to kill characters. From now on, I'm going to be extremely, extremely conservative with ever guessing that a character is going to die, right? People saw Blackbeard versus Law and they're like, oh no, Law might die here. I was like, no. You're not fooling me again, alright? It's got to be a tremendous amount of build-up before I believe that there's a character that's going to die. Grizzly Adams says, Morj, I really like the dogs versus cats analysis you made in the Chainsaw Man video. I hadn't thought about that, and it really tied a lot of stuff together for me. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. You know what's fun is that a lot of people, like, when I first read the series, this is not stuff that's going through my head while I'm first reading the series. Maybe I take some notes here or there. It's going back through and rereading and really taking notes that, like, things connect back. So for me, the same stuff that you guys are finding fun observations, right, without spoiling anything, let's say dogs versus cats, the same stuff that you guys are finding to be fun observations, those are things that were fun for me on reread to pick up on because I had not picked up on them the first time. So, yeah, going back through a series just has a lot of, like, going back through a series and really taking the time to think about, like, every little thing and, like, every little message or piece of symbolism and how it's connecting to something else, it can really make it, it can really up the value of the series for yourself as well. So, I had fun taking the notes for the video. I had fun going back through Chainsaw Man and seeing everything connect. So I'm glad that you guys enjoyed too. Steven Ricano says, Morj, don't you think that this is a setup for Garp to die? Maybe not here now, but eventually to Blackbeard as it increases Luffy's animosity? It depends because there's other characters that Blackbeard can kill to increase Luffy's animosity. Characters that I think have more setup. So I mean, Shanks is the obvious option, right? Blackbeard, what Blackbeard did to Ace, Luffy still hasn't forgiven him for that because we saw his reaction in Impel Down and everything like that. We saw how he talks to Blackbeard over Den Den Mushi. Luffy remembers what he did to Ace, right? Blackbeard killing off Shanks. It's just like, how many figures is Oda willing to have Blackbeard kill off in the story? I don't think the number's going to be that high at the end of the day. So Blackbeard killing off Shanks, I think, is big enough. And there's more setup for that as far as we know, right? Blackbeard and Garp, I just don't know. What's interesting, what's really, really interesting, is that if we see Blackbeard and Garp meet up, we could get some discussion of the the God Valley incident. That would be amazing, right? Because there's not many figures left who were around for the God Valley incident, right? As far as I know, correct me if I'm wrong, Garp and Rayleigh are going to be the only two characters still around who know about the details of the God Valley incident, right? And obviously we know Blackbeard follows in the footsteps of Zebek. I think him running into Garp, maybe Garp seeing something in Blackbeard or talking about how Beehive Island, etc., this was once the home base for Zebek, etc., the similarities. I think that could be some great interactions. That's assuming that Garp does run into Blackbeard there. Jolly D Joestar says no 44-minute long videos. No, I'm just saying it won't be that common. I can't do it that frequently, right? So that'll be something that comes up, I guess, infrequently, right? But I still want to do those because there's other series that I have a lot to say on. But for the most part, it'll be shorter videos analyzing smaller aspects of the series, right? Like, for example, Chainsaw Man, not Chainsaw Man, like, let's say Hunter x Hunter, right? The Succession War is not far enough, the current arc, it's not far enough that you can do a full comprehensive analysis on it. But I can talk about individual themes that are developing, and those can be really good individual videos that are, 10 to 20 minutes in themselves. So watch out for that. And that is something that's probably the first thing I want to do with Hunter x Hunter. Anime Dimension says, I think there was a traitor in Egghead who helped CP0 infiltrate. Let's slow down here. Throwing around some wild accusations. Anime Dimension says, I think there was a traitor in Egghead who helped CP0 infiltrate Labo Phase 1, possibly is one of the Vegapunks, probably Lilith, it may also be someone else. It could be that guy setting up a trap, for all we know. It could be the guy that Vegapunk asked for help setting up a trap, because they even threw around that possibility. Garrett Clark says Tower of God? No, I don't follow that, sorry. Jake Stevert says JJK is a 10 out of 10 sometimes, 4 out of 10 others. I'll say this, I've never felt like JJK is a 10 out... It depends. Depends. Someone has Black Clover, question mark. Black Clover is Here's the thing. I enjoyed reading Black Clover for fun, right? I think it's a fun, light series to follow. A lot of people hate Black Clover. So I'm almost worried, if I even did, just a fun video on Black Clover and, talking about, hey, this is a cool final arc that we're kind of in right now, I'm worried that there'll be a tremendous amount of backlash of just people being like, Morj talking about mid-Clover, Black Mid, the the words that people use for Black Clover, right? So I'm almost just like, man, if I make a Black Clover video, are people just gonna make fun of me? I don't know. Jolly D Joes, I want to, so I shouldn't let people stop me from doing what I would like to do. But at the same time, it's just like, do I want to put effort into doing a video that nobody wants to fucking watch, or people will just engage with negatively? Like, what do I get out of that? Jolly D Joseph says Garp might be Katarina Devon. I Oh, yo, that'd be crazy, but I don't think that that's the case, right? That'd be crazy. I think I skimmed past a little bit. It's crazy that now anyone could be Katarina Devon. That's awesome. Dabilaro Ali, welcome to the Yonko. Thank you for joining. Blue says Garp and Blackbeard fight, and Blackbeard starts with Room. Oh, that'd be crazy, but it wouldn't. Oda wouldn't do law like that, I don't think. Uh, Tom Tom says people doubted my Riz, but I got a girl's number off Hinge, and yes, I did name drop One Piece in the initial Hinge conversation. Okay, that's good. Do you keep One Piece in your profile and stuff? Because I don't do that. I definitely put I'm not gonna lie, I do have YouTuber in my profile because it just helps. I don't say I'm an anime YouTuber till it's too late. Uh, but getting a number that's good, but it's the follow through that matters, right? So it's the follow through that matters. But if it worked for you, Tom Tom, good for you, man. Mr. Crescent says, going off the latest vid, do you think Luffy will beat Kizaru? Or going off the latest vid, Mr. Crescent says, going off the latest vid, do you think Luffy will beat Kizaru or at least have him backpedaling to really cement his Yonko title? Also love the Chainsaw Man vid. Thank you for the comment about the Chainsaw Man video. I think that, like, I don't think Luffy takes out Kizaru for permanent. For permanently. I don't think Luffy takes out Kizaru permanently. I think it would have to at least be... I think he has to win against Kizaru. I think it could be something very similar to how he took out Lucci, right? Clearly wins the fight against Lucci, but the other character is fine after that, I guess. Right? Because we still need Kizaru for the endgame, otherwise the world government is woefully undermanned. Also, I feel like we definitely have to have a fight at this point, right? Because they even talk about, like, in this chapter, it looks like we can't get out without a fight. Big Bro Cook says, any Gundam content planned? No, I'm not a Gundam fan. Sorry. I just don't think I'm, like, a fan of the big mech stuff, period. I don't think I've ever been a fan of the big mech stuff. One exception is Pacific Rim, but that's a movie, and that's more for, like, you're getting the spectacle out of it because it's a movie. I think in terms of anime, manga, etc., I don't think I ever had any fun watching characters fight in mechs. You know, like, I can enjoy something like Code Geass, which has mechs, but not because of the mechs, you know what I mean? Nerve AMV Maker says, only Luffy and Zoro are getting rematches to show how far they've come. Is this another example of Oda giving Zoro a slightly elevated importance? Yeah, I would say so. Here's one thing I'll talk about from this chapter, alright? When people get upset about Sanji, right? When people get upset about... Because I think it's relevant, this chapter. When people get upset about Sanji, a lot of it is not even just, like, who's stronger between Zoro and Sanji. I think most people accept Zoro is stronger. The debate is more so, what's the gap? Is it close? Is it, like, almost the same? Is it a big gap? Stuff like that. Not important to discuss, right? When people get upset about how Sanji's been treated, I suppose, it's kind of like, I feel like the further that we've gone in the story, it's more so, it's the small things of, like, how Oda, it's like not even what the characters' feats are in terms of what they accomplish, right? It's how they are portrayed. So, like, look at the, like, Zoro blocking Kaku's attack, it's not a big deal. It's fucking Kaku at this point in the story, right? You know, it's Kaku, right? This isn't like an admiral, it's not a Yonko commander, etc. We don't know exactly how strong Kaku is, but Kaku has kind of been, you know, it's Kaku, right? But it's more so how the scene played out in a manner to make Zoro just feel like a really badass character, right? Kaku launches this giant attack. Zoro's literally sleeping. He blocks it basically while taking a nap, right? Wakes up, badass expression on his face, Kaku shits his pants or whatever. It's like the small stuff like that. It's just, this scene makes Zoro look really, really cool. Even if what he's doing is not that big of a deal in the grand scheme of things, it just makes Zoro look really cool, right? So I think that's the big difference. Like, and the reason it's such a big difference is because pre-time skip, I'd say kind of like, when it came to just sort of cool slash badass portrayal, Sanji had a lot more going for him in that category. Like, sure, Sanji was made to look really stupid and goofy and like love struck and stuff in many instances, but he had a lot more like cool, suave, badass moments, right? Zoro had his own, obviously, probably greater quantity than Sanji even back then. But post time skip, it's like the proportion has changed drastically, right? It's changed drastically. Where like now, I think the further we've gone post time skip, it's just like an overload of Zoro always being made to look really cool or really badass or like little scenes like this are slipped in all the time for Zoro, right? Anywhere throughout the story. I mean, like he had to go so many arcs before like he even Wano was the first arc he had like a serious one-on-one fight. Really, like he would walk through Monet and like, oh my god, he's so badass. He didn't even have to use hockey. He just scared her to death and stuff like that. Like that's the sort of way that Oda's just put him on such a pedestal, and it keeps on like there's something new every arc, right? That portrayal just keeps on keeping on every single arc. Where Sanji, I literally don't. What's the coolest moment Sanji has had post time skip? Right, like earlier this arc, Sanji kicked the Jinbei Seraphim. That's good, but that's like the bare minimum of what we expect from Sanji. You know what I mean? Like he's not being made to look cool. Like the stuff he's doing is technically all fine, but there's a certain cool factor that Oda has been ramping up from Zoro for post time skip and actually like taking away more and more from Sanji post time skip. I guess the last cool thing Sanji did was probably like aside from winning a fight, like beating up Queen, obviously, like defeating Queen. I guess that's a good feat, but I guess the last cool moment he had was basically coming in to take out like he kicked Perospero and Queen basically in one big move with a heroic entrance. That was cool. But you guys get what I'm saying at this point, right? It's just it's the little things that really differentiate how Zoro fans are kind of just like loving Zoro's portrayal throughout post time skip versus Sanji fans are just sad because it's not even about the feats, right? It's not even about the feats because you can say in terms of feats like, well, Zoro beat King, Sanji beat Queen, so technically it's similar, but it's not about the feats. It's just like it's like it's all the little things and like how the character is being made to look throughout the story. Nerve AMV Maker says only Luffy and Zoro are getting rematches. Oh no, we covered this. Fontingo, thanks for being a Yonko tier member for 3 months. Who do you think Vega called for backup this chapter? I thought it was Garp due to appearing in spoilers, but now I have no idea. Am I stupid? I have no idea. I have literally no guesses. If you guys have a guess for who Vegapunk called on, please let me know. I think one really cool option that somebody suggested was that it was like that Kuma's brain had been taken out of his body and transplanted, and so Vegapunk called upon the real Kuma, like whoever actually has Kuma's brain. That's an interesting option. Caleb Brown says, Morj, do you think, thanks for being a Yonko tier member for 3 months, Caleb. Do you think Garp and Blackbeard are him and him from Oda's end of the year message? Also, are you going to be at Braga's top 30 tonight? Braga's got a top 30 tonight? I haven't been checking the chat. No, I'm not going to be at Braga's top 30 tonight. I don't think I have fun doing top 30s with other people because, okay, I was in one of Braga's early top 30 rankings things, and like it's just not fun for me because it's like it's just a lot of waiting, and like people don't really change their opinions, and like I kind of just want to rattle off my top 30 and just like argue it out. But you gotta wait so long, right? Like you gotta go from the bottom up, and it's just very long and tedious, and I just don't have the energy for that. Basically, like it was fun for the period of time I was in, but I think like halfway through I was like, all right, I'm good. I'll just leave Braga with my list. He can fill it out post me leaving or whatever. I'll be good. Do I think Garp and Blackbeard are him and him? I don't know. I couldn't tell if Oda was. I have to look at Oda's message again because I kind of only glanced at it. I couldn't tell if he was saying like a general sense, like, oh, this character and this character might fight, or if he was talking about two specific characters. Behanort says, so are Chainsaw Man spoilers allowed on stream now? I think no. I think in the future, if I do stuff like that, I'll do individual dedicated Chainsaw Man or other manga-based streams if we want to talk about stuff like that. Mavahid Sadeghi says, to all Sanji Sim fans, why are you G? G? I don't even know what to say. Omarua says, about Manga Morj channel, how about older finished manga like Naruto, Kenshin, or Gantz, old manga, or is it ongoings only? Okay, so let me be clear here, which is that with Manga Morj, I am trying to be somewhat strategic about it too. So I'm not just going to cover series for the sake of covering series. So like, even though I like Gantz, Gantz is actually like Gantz is not a perfect series by any means. It's actually a really weird series in a lot of ways. But I really liked Gantz for what it was. It's a really generic statement, but you know, I like Gantz a lot for what it was. I'm never going to do a video probably on Manga Morj about Gantz unless it's something I can tie in really, really well. Like if you like if you like Berserk and Attack on Titan, you need to try this manga or something. Then I talk about Gantz or something like that. I'm probably not going to do it though. I do need to be somewhat strategic, right? Chainsaw Man, it's currently my favorite series running. That or Hunter x Hunter. And luckily, both those series are very popular. So I'm happy to talk about both of those. JoJo's around the corner. Love that series. Happy to talk about it. Jujutsu Kaisen, I'm hot and cold on. But it's also a popular series. I'm going to tackle it, right? I'm probably not going to do something like Gantz that's really niche because there's just no point to it. I do want the channel to grow. And you kind of got to balance things a little bit, basically, when you want the channel to grow. I want it to grow enough that I have like max freedom to really talk about whatever I want, you know? G4162 says, I'm not sure why people are saying Garp will be a Jiraiya. That would be really, wouldn't it? Uh, I I get what people say. Wouldn't that be more like Shank? Yeah, I guess it would be really. I guess people are just saying like a sort of almost parental figure to Luffy, right? Which is Garp, Shanks. Really, like, Jiraiya did take up that parental role in a sense, right? You know, the popsicle shit. If I'm remembering Naruto correctly. People are saying Sabo. Nah, that's the guy that he was going to call on. Zaibatsu says Garp is said to have been close to Roger and is only is only a few years older than Whitebeard and not sick like him. He should be absolutely top tier, so I'll be sad if he doesn't fight a little. It's really hard to say because Garp's been out of the Marines for 2 years, and he was even already talking about, you know, Ennis Lobby and Marineford. He was talking about how his strength has declined a good deal. So it depends what you mean by top tier. For some people, like, top tier means different things, right? It just varies what top tier, what people's definition of top tier is. Like some people believe that like Shanks is just as strong as Roger once was, you know? Other people believe that Roger is in a different tier than any of the characters are today. It's like, what do you mean by top tier? I would not be surprised if Garp is still close to where Blackbeard is right now. Because the thing is with Blackbeard, I don't think Blackbeard is at his full strength, right? I think that Blackbeard will be stronger by the end of the story. So, yeah. Let me make one little note. Sean Easton, thanks for being a Yonko tier member for 3 months. So you got stuck at home due to the snow. Oof. I don't know. No, it wasn't even due to the snow. There's no snow where I'm at, but my flight just got delayed. My flight got delayed 6 hours. I don't know why. There's no explanation given or anything like that. I don't want to share more details basically regarding my location or whatever, but my flight got delayed 6 hours, which means I missed my next connecting flight, which means I couldn't go home, which means I had to rebook, and everything was fucking booked out, so I had to rebook for several days later. So I'm stuck for a little bit. Also, these chapters have been, he's saying, this good quality. I agree. These have been some really exciting chapters. Keenan says, why does that bum-ass kid get to go to Elbaf before us? That is a great point, Keenan. I agree. I don't know. Also, random question. Why was Kid, like, confused that they got to Elbaf? Wasn't Kid, like, searching for the man marked by flames? Wasn't he specifically looking for Saul? So then why was he confused that they got to Elbaf? He's like, didn't he specifically tell his crew to go there? Remix King says, Morj, what the fuck happened? Why did you start so early? Because the chapter... I mean, my whole schedule's up in the air right now. I'm not even at, like... I'm still at my parents' house, right? I have nothing better to do right now than stream this chapter. Yeah, basically. I've moved some things around. Like, okay, so the chapter just came out, right? I could wait till nighttime to do the video on it, or to do the stream on it, but we're trying to push out the chapter review. Okay, full explanation is this, all right, which is because I'm here, I can't film a good chapter review, right? Luckily, my editor, I'm back where I used to live, so my editor slash producer is here, so I can go to his house to film a chapter review, right? He is only free in the evening, which means I got to stream right now. Does that make full sense? If I was back home, then I would probably just film the chapter review whenever I wanted. I've got my own setup, and I would probably stream at night. But this is the situation. Kung Fu Kenny, thanks a lot. Chance of some dialogue about rocks when Garp confronts Blackbeard. Of some dialogue about rocks when Garp confronts Blackbeard. Yeah, I was talking about that earlier. I really, really hope that we get something like that. Guys, let's get the stream likes to 300. Let's get it to 300. If you believe in a Blackbeard and Rocks connection, it's the perfect chance. Yeah, the reason I was saying I feel like that's very likely is because at the moment, I think Garp and Rayleigh are the last two significant members from the God Valley incident that are around, period. So these are the last two that can really shed light on what happened. Unless Bakian was part of, I guess Shaki can also, unless Bakian was also part of Rox's crew. But in general, like Garps is the last really prominent character that can shed light on what happened. Captain Face says, for Manga Morj, will you do videos like how how Oda writes One Piece video, dissecting how different mangaka tell stories and different methods they use? I mean, stuff like that is going to be in the works. Like, maybe not full ass, long ass videos that go as in depth, but I like that idea of like that stuff that's already going to be incorporated into how I talk about different series, right? So when I'm talking about Hunter x Hunter, naturally one video will discuss basically how Togashi writes very differently from pretty much every other Shonen Jump author, right? I want to do that for Fujimoto as well. And there's different videos that it'll probably be siloed off into, like how he does comedy, how he does, how he structures his arcs, things like that. But I like that idea you just gave of like, what if I did one video that covers like 5 different authors? I don't know. I'd have a lot of fun doing one on Araki because that dude writes in the weirdest fucking manner possible. Talha Jahan says, since Whole Cake Island, Sanji portrayal has been on the up. Moments like dodging a jelly bean, Oven Blitz, in Wano, the live floor stuff, even outside of his 1v1, portrayed him as a force. We'll wait for Egghead to finish. Yeah, it just depends, man. Like, I think people, I don't know if people consider, how do I say this in not a mean way? I think the fact that we have to reference him dodging a jelly bean so much as one of his best moments pre-time skip, like his coolest moments pre-time skip, is kind of sad. Because, like, before this, like, pre-time skip, there's so many iconic Sanji moments, like quotes and stuff like that you can mention, like, who are you? I'm the hunter. Thanks for the light. Mr. Prince. Like, all sorts of random shit. Even the shit he did at the end of Annie's lobby with, like, creating the whirlpools and basically facilitating their entire escape. I think there's more to work with there, and I think you can go by, like I can look at Drum Kingdom, and there's, like, random, really cool, suave moments for Sanji. I think we're missing a lot of those really cool, suave moments for Sanji post-time skip. Alright, guys, let's get the likes to 400. 300 was, like, a tiny benchmark. There's only, like, 10 likes. Let's get it to 400. That seems more reasonable. Henchme976 says, Kid has extra scars just from being on a boat. Oh, man. Oh, Strife's here. He says, hi, Morj, hi, Chad. What's up, Strife? Dr. Farewell, welcome to the Yonko. Thanks for joining. Herschel Fortween, welcome to the Supernova. Thank you for joining. Willis Townsend says, are you in a holding cell? No, I'm still stuck at my parents' place. I will be, I should be, unless something terrible happens to my flight on Saturday, which it might, because you don't know with flights these days. I'm not saying, like, what I mean is, like, it might get delayed. Let's be very clear about that. If my flight gets delayed or canceled or something, I should be back in my usual home setup, etc. This Saturday. JWP says Sanji had good moments, not raw moments. Yeah, it depends. Like a lot of people talk up Sanji having really good character moments comparatively or whatever. He has had more character focus in Whole Cake Island and everything like that, but it almost feels. I'm not gonna lie. A lot of the Sanji stuff we got in Whole Cake Island almost feels random because I feel like we didn't need it. Like I thought it was good, but it's almost random that Oda took like a whole arc, really centered it around Sanji, and then didn't do that for any of the other Straw Hats. It's just weird, you know what I mean? Like, Oda was just randomly like, I need to talk about this guy specifically for a full arc. And that's just really, really important. And the message being like, it's important for him to be true to himself and the way he is. Did we need that? I just don't know if we needed it. It helped develop his character somewhat, but at the same time, I didn't feel like his character was woefully in need of. It didn't change him that much. If anything, it told him to be more so true to himself. It helped in the sense that he was more willing to ask Robin for help, which is a small change, but it's not something like crazy that I felt like we all felt like, oh, we really need Sanji to develop in this way. I think I'm not okay. To be clear, I'm not saying that the stuff in Whole Cake Island was bad. I think it's more like I liked Whole Cake Island. You guys know I like Whole Cake Island. Put out a whole video on that and stuff like that. I like what happened with Sanji and Whole Cake Island. What I'm saying is that it's weird that with Oda approaching the end of his story and only so many arcs to go, he suddenly decided that, or not suddenly, I'm sure he had to plan for a long time, he specifically singled out Sanji as a character that he needed to really write a full arc around. It would have made a lot of sense to me, and I think a lot of people felt that this is the direction it was going, which was that Whole Cake Island that centers around Sanji a lot, then, Wano will probably center around Zoro a lot and get some really good development for him, then Elbaf probably for Usopp and everything like that. So kind of going down the line to cover bases for all of the Straw Hats and really give them some good stuff towards the end of the story. But whatever the fuck he had for Zoro and Wano was scrapped, right? Practically completely thrown away. So it makes Sanji, Whole Cake Island as Sanji's arc stand out all the more as just like, fuck, guess we just had to go on like a 90 chapter detour to really focus in on Sanji. And then for the rest of the New World, the rest of the Straw Hats are kind of like side characters. It's kind of bizarre. Also, I will say this. I'm not happy that we get 7 Vegapunks on the ship. They're all going to be around. God damn it. After I just dropped, like I've just been gushing so much about like how One Piece has cut down on its characters, really streamlining. We get more focus on the Straw Hats hopefully from here on, right? I didn't know all fucking 7 Vegapunks would be coming along. I thought we'd connect these brains at some point. Can we connect the brains? Can we just get 1 Vegapunk? I don't know if we need 7. I really don't know why we need 7. I don't know why we need 7. That's my one issue with this chapter, I think. Why do we need all of them? Why do we need so many of them? And like they're even hyping it up in the chapter. They're like, "Oh boy, an adventure with like 7 of the world's greatest scientists." I'm like, "You just need 1. You just need 1. You don't need all of them. just take 1." I was hoping that their situation would be they would be reunited, like, brain merged, etc. before we left Egghead Island. But it looks like we're gonna be fucking traveling to Egghead Island with an unprecedented 7 extra characters on the Straw Hats ship, with the Straw Hats already being at the largest size the crew has ever been. I personally don't like that. Anime Dimension says Sengoku knows about the God Valley incident. Kid went to Elbaf. Sengoku does know, but I'm saying like in terms of characters that Blackbeard could reasonably interact with. And who was actually there? Garp was actually there. So Sengoku just knows about it, but Garp was there. Kid went to Elbaf by accident because they draw a straw lottery with Luffy on where to go next after Wano, and coincidentally became Elbaf. Oh, true. You're right. Thanks for correcting me. It's just that I thought that Kid already figured that they would be trying to get to Elbaf soon. For the sake of the man marked by flames, right? But I guess he wouldn't have known that they luckily picked Elbaf from the lottery. Papa Dogsucker says, we are next to Sword and Hachinosu, going to see Saul. Egghead is a winter island. Aokiji is the mysterious man at Egghead. I don't know if Aokiji is the... First of all, thanks for being a Yonko tier member for 3 months, Papa Dogsucker. I appreciate it. I don't know if Aokiji is the mysterious man there. I get why you're saying that he's close by. Oh, it would be so cool if Aokiji helps them out. Seeing Aokiji in action? Against Kizaru, maybe? That'd be wild. It's an interesting point. Is Zoro from Wano? We'll never know, says Dabilar Ali. Dabilar Ali. Yeah, we'll never know. Sun says Lucci, I refuse to accept Straw Hat as an emperor. Yeah, that's just salt. We've all been there in some capacity, right? Mara says thoughts on manhwa slash webtoons, Korean webcomics. Uh, I'm just not what do you call? I'm not that deep into stuff that I read that stuff. I guess basically, maybe I will eventually. The more the merrier. Some people want 7. Sillin says Oda needs more gags. I would love more gags just with the Strats interacting with each other. Uh, I don't know. This would mean, hold on, how many Strat members do we have at this point? We have our 10, right? We have our 10 Straw Hats. We have our 10 Straw Hats plus 7. We have 17 members on board. 17 members. We don't need this many members on the fucking ship right now. 10 is already a lot to work with. I was so happy the chapter that we got where Luffy announced, like, he told his crew his dream and everything like that, where it's just the Strides chilling on the ship. I was like, we needed this. And it turns out it was just one I should have treasured that chapter more. Guys, let's get it up to 400 likes. Goomba Boomba, thanks for being a Yonko tier member for 3 months. Sanji didn't see his worth in Thriller in TB. He was going to sacrifice himself, saying you can find another cook. Plus more X's in Baratier. Whole Cake Island made him recognize his value in the group. No, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that Whole Cake Island didn't do good stuff for his character. Not saying that at all. I'm just saying that I think pre Whole Cake Island, none of us thought that Sanji's character needed to develop. And like, I don't think I remember any readers being like, you know what Sanji really needs to grow as, like the direction he needs to grow in. Sanji needs to really recognize his value. That's what's really missing from his character. I don't think a single reader felt like Sanji was unfulfilled in that aspect. It's kind of like Oda went out of his way to be like, hey, he could grow in this direction, and that's good. But I don't think any reader's like reading One Piece and being like, oh, this is clearly a huge missing hole in his like, in who his character is and what he needs to learn or something like that, right? I don't think there was any like nobody was talking about like, hey, Sanji really fucking needs a character arc here or something like that, right? So it's good that Oda did it, but at the same time, it stands out a lot more as odd, I suppose, in the sense that other Straw Hats are seemingly not going to get that sort of attention, and the Straw Hats in general are undoubtedly getting less and less screen time, right? Especially over the course of Wano. Egghead Island, I thought was like a good step in terms of maybe more focus on the Straw Hats, but it seems like, again, they're taking a back seat because there's other shit going on. We get 7 Vegapunks to take up some screen time and shit like that. So I think it's more jarring in the sense that, like, we went through many arcs of the New World with the Straw Hats generally not getting a ton of screen time. I think the most notable character focus we got for any individual Straw Hat was Usopp and Dressrosa. And even that wasn't that significant, but it was nice. And then we get one arc, Whole Cake Island, where it's just like, Sanji. It's all about Sanji. We gotta focus on Sanji and his character, and it was really well done arc, in my opinion, right? I'm saying then it goes back to all the Straws basically getting extremely negligible focus, Zoro kind of getting something, then that getting scrapped, and then the Straws basically being treated like side characters that just exist to win fights, etc. for a long time, continuing to just being basically a background ensemble even at this point. It's just, it makes Whole Cake Island stand out in a weird way. You know what I mean? It's like, all these main characters not getting that much focus. Oh, one arc to focus on this one character for some reason. Okay, back to the Strats not getting focus and kind of getting pushed to the background. It's like, whoa, can we get some equality here? Can the love get spread around a little bit? Tala John says, Morj, I think you understate how important Oda considers Sanji as a... Whoops. Scroll past it. Understate how important Oda considers Sanji as a main character. Everything starting Water 7 on paints him as the series number 3, not Nami. I think there's an argument for that. I definitely think there's an argument for that. I'm just saying that, like, at the very least, it's close among Zoro, Sanji, Nami, Usopp, right? Again, I'm not saying it's bad that Oda put so much time into Sanji and Whole Cake. I'm saying it feels like Whole Cake Island storytelling is so much more character focused and less cluttered, in my opinion, than the surrounding arcs. And it's so focused on one character in particular, that it just feels like it stands out in a really weird way compared to the other post time skip arcs. So in my mind, it's just like this is a weird anomaly. You know what I'm saying? It feels like very uneven storytelling focus, because then we just go back to all the Straw Hats just being, random Straw Hats that kind of don't get much focus and like don't really get much development at all. So it would be nice if we got it spread out a bit more. You know what I'm saying? But with Elbaf and Usopp stuff around the corner, maybe we get some good stuff for Usopp. We did think that for Wano with Zoro, but I think undeniably Usopp and Elbaf has had the most build-up between character to island, right? There's been the most build-up in One Piece period for Usopp to Elbaf, right? Polmao, thanks for being a Yonko tier member for 3 months. Leave all the Vegapunks, including the original, on Egghead and only bring Lilith to the ship. That'd be funny. Lilith's the most fun, that's for sure. And definitely probably provides the best fan art, I assume, going forward. Faha Alid says, I'm happy for you and your channel because I like to see more analysis, but I'm afraid that this will take some focus and energy from the One Piece channel. Don't even worry about that. We've got the whole thing set up. I've got things divvied up perfectly, so it won't interfere with the One Piece schedule whatsoever. Literally won't interfere with the One Piece schedule whatsoever. You guys don't know this, but we've done trial videos. How to explain this? We've done trial weeks where we've done like fake videos for other manga while also doing One Piece videos, basically, and it basically is very, very doable. It's also not only me working on this, so I'm still going to be doing the creation of the content, but actually the Unleashed guys are helping with images, bouncing of ideas and stuff like that, because they're also fans of other manga and stuff like that. Audio editing, finding clips, helping run the channel, basically. So it's like the operation has expanded, basically, to make sure that I'm going to be able to handle everything. So One Piece has its own days of work, and then the other manga will have their own days of work, and it's just going to flow like that. Ivan not back from his depression arc yet. Thanks for being a Yonko tier member for 3 months. I'm sorry to see the title change. If you thought another arc was going to end in failure, would you be willing to share the theory again? Let's be clear. I never said Wado is going to end in failure. I just said that the raid would end in failure as the midpoint of the Wano arc. I never thought that Wano was going to end in failure. Wano was clearly set up to be an arc where they win in the end. I just thought that, it would be nice if they lost first before they won. The way that every major One Piece arc or every story in general tends to go, right? I thought that would be good if Oda followed storytelling conventions and the same conventions that he has built every single major arc of his own story around so far. I thought that would be good. There's no other arc at this point in the story that I would say confidently, I think that arc is literally going to end in failure like Marineford, because we are in that section of the story where, we're heading towards the Straw Hats actually winning, saving the world, etc., right? But I assume that meant that there are going to be low points in, like, some level of defeat along the way for the Straw Hats before we get there. Probably some stuff, right? But not right here. I think Egghead Island is set to be, like, a really big victory moment for the Straw Hats. Edwin Rodriguez says, theory on Kid's role in Elbaf, villain or ally versus a bigger threat. I think Elbaf could be a bit of a battle royale. So I think they will go up against Kid in some sense, but maybe they do ally against Blackbeard or something by the end of it. Omaru says, Kid will be captured by Loki, will need to be saved. Dude, Kid can't get any lower. He just shows up to Elbaf and gets captured. No, come on, I think he can do better than that. Mr. Crescent says, now that we know Kid is on Elbaf, do you still think it will be Shanks' arc? I just can't think of a good reason for the two of them to run into each other. I also don't see him winning a rematch without help. Aren't their stories already kind of tied together? Right? Kid was gunning for Shanks. Like, Shanks' crew took his arm. Then Kid's next motivation was to go after Shanks yet again. Right? He got interrupted by Kaido, but his motivation was to go after Shanks. Then he's after the man marked by Flame. Like, I think that a lot of it would connect really nicely if, like, Kid runs into Saul there, he runs into Shanks there, and Luffy runs into all of them there as well, because Luffy has to meet Shanks soon as well, right? Damone Nickerson says your Chainsaw Man video was worth the wait. Thanks. I kept telling people it's gonna be a while, but even I didn't realize how long it'd be. I'm glad people were fine with the wait. Made me appreciate the series 100 times more. I'll probably have to start reading Hunter x Hunter and JoJo's just so I can watch those two. I'd say between the two, Hunter x Hunter and JoJo's are fairly different series, although they both offer entertaining fights in their own way. Um, I'd say JoJo's is not everyone's speed. Hunter x Hunter is something that I think most people can enjoy if you move past the beginning parts. You know one thing that I really dislike, and I think I dislike this about fans of like any series. I think most any series, like lots of fans, when they're really deep into a series and just love it so much, they will say shit like they will give people the wrong idea when heading into that series. So, for example, when I tell people, you know, look, if you're trying to get into JoJo's, it does eventually get very good, right? Especially the later parts, and it takes some time, but you start to understand the appeal of the series and why it's really good in its own weird, creative way. But the first part is a slog. The first part is a slog. Probably the second part, like it takes a while before you really start enjoying the appeal of JoJo's, right? Lots of JoJo's fans will adamantly be like, there are no bad parts. If you don't appreciate part one, like you don't love the series. Like JoJo's is good from the very first part. Jonathan fans, Jonathan is the protagonist of part one. Rise up. People will say shit like that. Like when you're really deep in a series, lots of people won't acknowledge that like early aspects of the story are not going to be for everyone and are going to turn a lot of people away, and they tend to forget that they themselves probably didn't enjoy those early parts that much while they initially got in the story. And it's only once you're deep in and like are a big fan that you look back at shit with nostalgia and you enjoy it more on rewatch, reread, or whatever, right? Because you're already a fan of the story, so you're ready to sink in and be ready for whatever the earlier parts of the story have to offer as well, right? Same for Hunter x Hunter. Lots of people are like, oh, Hunter x Hunter has no bad arcs. It's good from arc 1, right? No. Just fucking tell people to get to York New, and then they can drop the series after York New or not, right? But if you're telling people like, hey, if you don't like Hunter x Hunter from the fucking Hunter exam, then, you have bad taste, you're not going to enjoy the story, you're going to lose a lot of people right there. It's annoying. No, the Hunter exam is not a great arc by today's standards of what people tend to enjoy. Like, you compare the Hunter exam to early arcs of modern day series, they get shit going a lot faster. There's a lot more interesting shit going on in early arcs of modern day series than the Hunter exam. Is Hunter x Hunter still better than pretty much, anything like better or just as good as anything running today, right? Is Hunter x Hunter still arguably like in contention with One Piece and stuff as like the greatest shonen of all time? Of course. But like people annoy me when they're just like, oh, there's no bad JoJo's parts. You enjoy it from part one. Part one's obviously good. Like, you should know if you like the series from part one, right? Hunter x Hunter, oh, if you don't like the Hunter exam's good. Hunter x Hunter has no bad arcs, blah, 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 blah. You'll enjoy it right away. No, that's BS. It's the same thing as people telling people like, oh yeah, you'll love One Piece from fucking Romance Dawn. It's got like amazing shit. You'll enjoy Luffy versus Buggy and stuff. No. A lot of these series, they take a while to get good. You need to give people the right perspective heading in. So when people are like, oh, I have to start reading Hunter x Hunter JoJo's, I really try and like preface people with the understanding that you are very possibly not going to like these series that much early on. It's going to take a bit for them to get to the good parts, and I try to set a good benchmark for like, you will know if you like this series or not by this part, by this point, right? With Hunter x Hunter, I think it's York New. If you don't like York New, I don't think you will necessarily like Hunter x Hunter that much. Although obviously Chimera Arc is like a whole different level. So if someone wants to power through York New and get there, good for them. But for the most part, if you don't like it by York New, you probably won't really love the series. JoJo's, I'd say like you need to give it to at least part 3 to understand somewhat the appeal of the series. But then beyond that, it's a slow investment where you're just going to start liking it more and more part after part. Anyway, even Chainsaw Man, which I think gets into it. Like I think Chainsaw Man, the entire first part of it, part 1, the public safety saga, I think the Public Safety Saga is like one of the hottest starts the series has ever had. But I would still say you need to get like 50 chapters into Chainsaw Man before you kind of know if you're going to enjoy it or not. Or before you start kind of seeing the appeal. One sec. Sorry for the tangent. Grizzly Adams says, even if Usopp doesn't get a good arc in Elbaf, I think he'll still be the most consistently well-written in Stride over the course of the series. I definitely agree. I think Usopp is already the most consistently well-written in Stride over the course of the series. It's just that Elbaf, I think, is going to be important for him. Tom says, I hope Shanks cuts off Kid's other arm. I mean, it'd be funny, but it doesn't really affect anything for Kid, does it? Polmow says, Morj, the chat is saying you're in jail at the moment. You okay? Thanks for the 20, Polmow. I came in late to the stream and have no idea what's going on. They have you at Impel down. Also, do you think Garp is going to die against Blackbeard? No. All that's happening right now is I am still at my parents' house. I'm in my parents' basement. I was supposed to fly home yesterday. My flight got delayed / canceled pretty much because I missed my connecting flight. I was scheduled to miss my connecting flight. So I'm stuck here for a few more days, which is why the stream setup is so bad. But, we got what we got. Do I think Garp is going to die against Blackbeard? No. I don't think, that many characters are going to die by the end of One Piece. Pima says, Pina, who's got a, Denji profile pic, just watched your Chainsaw Man video, went hard. Thanks, I appreciate it. Omarua says, how many people are in your organization? I don't know, what's a full head count? Depends how you count it. Let me think. Me? Are we counting the main Morj channel too, or the new channel? I guess 7 to 8, depending on how you count it. See, MDEE says Hunter Exam is not bad. Drusser saying Hunter Exam is the weakest Hunter x Hunter arc, but it's still 7 out of 10. You guys don't get it. Just because you don't think it's bad, right? You need to understand that if you are showing a new person the arc, right? Just because you love Hunter x Hunter and you love all these characters, and it's fun for you to go back and, watch Gon, Killua, Kurapika, Leori, etc., meeting, etc., going through little trials, etc., together, Hisoka, all that. You need to understand that for the average person, Hunter x Hunter does not stand out as a particularly great series from the Hunter Exam arc. Okay? Maybe you enjoyed it. I'm talking about for most people who have never touched the series before. If you tell them, hey, you're going to enjoy Hunter x Hunter right away, no, they're not going to enjoy it right away. A lot of people, I'm speaking from real life personal experience, and me having to fucking push people to get through Hunter x Hunter. Okay? My roommate a couple years ago, basically, he was fucking annoyed for the longest time because Gon's main fighting method was a fishing rod, which he thought was stupid. And it is stupid. Luckily, they dropped that later on in the series, but I have to get him to the point where the combat starts to actually get fucking interesting with Nen and shit like that. No, Hunter x Hunter does not stand out as a particularly interesting... Put it this way. If you compare the Hunter Exam... I put Hunter x Hunter way above Naruto, personally. But if you compare the Hunter Exam arc to the Chunin Exam arc, obviously Chunin Exam arc being heavily inspired from the Hunter Exam arc, but I'm saying compare the starts of both these two series. The Chunin Exam arc is like one of the best arcs in Shonen, period, right? Lots of series have much better starts than Hunter x Hunter. If you're telling people you're going to enjoy Hunter x Hunter from the get-go, no, the Hunter Exam arc in no way represents what is so good about Hunter x Hunter, right? It's a fine arc, but you're not getting across the appeal of Hunter x Hunter with that initial arc, right? It's a good arc, sure, but really what makes Hunter x Hunter Hunter x Hunter, right? What makes it a standout series? Its unique aspects, its core appeal, right? That's not really till York New that you really understand the type of writing that the series has. And that's just that's why it's frustrating talking to fans of the series, right? It's the same way with One Piece. I would say you don't really get an idea of some of the good shit that One Piece can do till Arlong Park, right? Arlong Park is the first truly strongly emotional storyline in One Piece. And then you don't get an idea of the scale of One Piece's conflicts till Alabasta. And then you don't get an idea of the scale of the One Piece world and the overarching story to Enies Lobby. And then you don't get like a true idea of what the entire story is about and what it's all heading towards and why it's so insanely hype and exciting and just ambitious as fuck till Marineford. So One Piece, you kind of got to go through like several levels to get to the point of like where you fully understand how great One Piece is. Uh, but you know, other series are luckier. Like Hunter x Hunter, you just got to get them to York New and you're fine. But at least tell them to get to York New. Don't be telling them you're going to like it from the Hunter exam right away. John678 says, "Bro, if Elbaf is Usopp's arc, I think I'm gonna drop One Piece for a while for real. Why the fuck people hyping it so much? Just focus on Luffy instead. Arc gonna be so slow, dude. Every arc focuses on Luffy. What the fuck do you want?" And yeah, like I think that Dresser says Hunter exam arc is far superior to Chunin exam arc. Oh my god, that's Hunter. I'm not gonna get into this. I'm not gonna get into this. Okay, even if you think that that's the case, I think most people in general tend to hold Chunin exam arc up as one of the best early arcs in Shonen period, whereas I think very few people talk up the Hunter exam arc. This is why it's difficult to talk to people who are like hardcore fans of certain series, right? Like the popular opinion is going to generally be Chunin exam arc, standout early arc that captured literally fucking millions of people, turned millions of people into Naruto fans. Hunter exam arc is not the same shit. That's just the reality. I'm talking about like when you're recommending series to the average person. Just because you like the Hunter exam arc this much, you got to think, how does the average person function? Average person, it's probably not going to make them think, oh my god, Hunter x Hunter is such a brilliant work of writing, such genius, innovative decision making that he made this arc, such deep philosophy, etc. from the fucking Hunter exam arc. Get him to York New. Just get him to York New. Damon Nickerson says, "I agree. I started Hunter x Hunter years ago, but never got past the exam. I guarantee there's many people like that who started Hunter x Hunter, didn't get past the early arcs, right? Compare that to something like Naruto, where probably a lot of people will tell you their favorite parts of the fucking series were like the Chunin exam arc." Justin Holland says, would you call Ace more of a free spirit than Luffy? No. No. I mean, like, it's hard to compare, like, how free is this spirit, how free spirited is this person versus that person. But I think, like, Luffy is meant to represent the ultimate depiction of freedom in the story, right? Tutorial Boss says, "I agree that the Chunin exam has more mass appeal." That's all I'm getting at. I'm not even trying to say what's better or not better, even if I accidentally did go down that route. I'm just saying that, like, I tend to find that when you're a hardcore fan of a show, you tend to be bad at recognizing when something is going to have mass appeal or not, or if it's just something that you think is really good because you have enough context at this point to, or emotional attachment to it at this point to really like it. Eric Trelada says Ace is shackled by daddy issues. I think that's a possible point. Drusser, sorry if I made an incorrect assumption about you. I'm projecting how many Hunter x Hunter fans are. I didn't realize you're not a Hunter x Hunter fan whatsoever. It's not in your top 50. That's pretty crazy. RN's topping him. He's saying Hunter x Hunter doesn't even reach my top 100. Kushin is saying get this man out of Impel Down. I'll probably call the stream in 15-20. A Goosey Soup says not in the top 50 is crazy, LMAO. I mean, it's not crazy if you just don't like the series. Or if you've read so much manga, I guess that, like, there's just a million things ahead of that for you. Green Princess says Hunter x Hunter is in my bottom 5. Edgar Ayanami says casuals. Hunter x Hunter doesn't even crack my top million. Papa Dog Suckers says stream all day. No, I have to go record the chapter review after this. I got shit to do. Tutorial Boss says, I could not watch Yu Yu Hakusho after they finished the Dark Tournament. Felt it should have ended there. Yeah, I agree. I felt like the last arc had a ton of potential, though. It's just that it got cut short. Tom Tom says the only series in my top 50 are seinen that you've never heard of that only get one chapter every 2 years. Yeah, this is shit that I wouldn't know about. All Powerful God Analyst says, are you going to make Berserk videos, Morj? It depends, because I'm not reading, I've dropped Berserk. I read a few of the new chapters. I was just like, I'm not feeling these. Yeah. I mean, part of it is I was already not loving Berserk where it was at pre Mura's passing. I still believe that the story would pan out in a great way, right? I just wasn't loving where it was at specifically when he passed away. And then the new author came in and like I really didn't enjoy those chapters. And so it's a combination of just having generally being at a low point of interest in the story overall, new author coming in and me not feeling like he's carrying it on well, maybe he's carrying it out exactly as Mura would have. Either way, I'm not enjoying it. But I have so much good shit to say about early Berserk. It's just like, do I feel like covering that? Do I feel like going into Golden Age, Conviction, stuff like that? At one point I would have loved to. Right now, I don't know. There's so much other stuff to talk about that feels more relevant right now. I could talk about Vinland Saga. Even though I've other things to say about Vinland Saga. Tom Tom says, Morj, you missed my super and I'm crying. I'll get you. Let me get it right now. Well, I talk about John 678. Hold on. Marine Ford greater than Chunin exam equal Hunter exam. Anyone say otherwise is wrong. All right. I mean, I do personally definitely prefer Marine Ford to the Chunin exam arc. I don't think Chunin exam is... I definitely think Hunter exam is significantly better than the Chunin exam. No, sorry, other way around. Chunin exam is significantly better than the Hunter exam. Tom Tom says, oh, my bad. Tom Tom says, Gon gets Nen back, becomes a conjurer, makes a rod. That'd be so funny if Gon's final development is just going back to the fucking fishing rod. Dude, it's so funny, because I was trying to convince my roommate for the longest time to try Hunter x Hunter. He's like, dude, I've seen, like, bits of it. I don't like that the main character fights with a fishing rod. And this was a huge point of debate for the longest time. I was like, dude, you will like this series. It's right up your alley. Fucking watch Hunter x Hunter. The fishing rod is not a big deal. And I tried to convince him for the longest time it's not a big deal. And so he starts the series, and I forgot that Gon held on, like, Gon used the fishing rod for a long time. So for a good while, he's just like, you fucking lied. The fishing rod is a big part of the series. He uses it all the time. It's like his main weapon. He uses it in every fight. It's his ace in the hole. I'm just like, sorry, I fucking forgot that the fishing rod is important for that long, but I swear, in the grand scheme of things, the fishing rod is extremely irrelevant. Nandu V says, long steel ball run analysis on manga channel. I have multiple JoJo's... It's like a pick and choose thing, because like I have lots of notes that I can do on different series to make long analysis videos on, but anytime I do a long analysis, it's like a huge time investment. Steel Ball Run would be a fun one to do. I don't think Steel Ball Run is as good as like a lot of people say. But I think it's like such a fun, interesting story that there's like a lot to talk about. And the way that it fits in with the other JoJo's parts, like other JoJo's ideas, right? So I'd like to do a Steel Ball Run video, but it's not like... It's like a pick and choose thing. It's a pick and choose thing. I'm going to be kind of gauging a bit of interest in different series as we expand. At the moment, Chainsaw Man is Hot Topic. It's my favorite week-to-week series that's going right now. So it starts off with a few Chainsaw Man videos, probably 2, maybe 3. Like, we've got another one coming right away, and then maybe another one next week, and then probably Hunter x Hunter. and then we keep branching from there. Like there's a general roadmap, but it's like open to change based on like what we feel is right. Narrator says best theory you'll ever hear: Kobe kills Luffy. End of series: Luffy will gain freedom in death as Kobe fake kills Luffy and Luffy lives on as Joy Boy. That is not the best theory I've ever heard, but I appreciate the confidence and you submitting it. Yeah, please no spoilers. I don't know what people are dropping spoilers for. Please no spoilers. I assume that people are dropping spoilers. Kenny Saltlick says 7 elevates 8 a lot. Dude, it's so tricky because I love aspects of 8. I have a weird relationship with part 7 and 8 of JoJo's because upon like for both of them I really really love them for the most part. Then there would come a point where I start feeling disappointed with aspects or realizing that certain things feel like very not well thought out or set up, or like some things are just going to go unaddressed or ideas are just going to get left hanging, right? And then I close the series, like part 7 I close somewhat disappointed. Then enough time passes and I look back fondly on it and I go back and like I overlook the things I didn't like and I just reminisce on the things I like more, so then it elevates in my mind. Part 8, same thing happened. I would say that overall I think part 7 is definitely significantly better than part 8, but a lot of the things I didn't like about part 8 are its heavy reliance and almost like mimicking mimicking aspects of part 7, but just like with much poorer setup once it had kind of played out its own unique aspects, if that makes sense. I think a video on that is one that I definitely want to do. But I like both parts a lot, and they're my two favorite parts. Yeah, Chillax Sarita says part 8 is the worst by far. I think part 8 is probably going to be very controversial for a lot of people. What I my favorite thing about part 8, funnily enough, it's the I don't think this is a spoiler to say at all. The final villain's stand, what the stand was of the final villain, won't say anything beyond that. That's my favorite stand in the series. My favorite villain stand in the series. I love that stand and the concept of it, and how that entire stretch of chapters played out. That's my favorite stand in the series. So it even has my favorite stand name in the series. So I will say nothing beyond that. So like part 8 has lots of aspects I really like. Just overall as a story, it's not quite there. I don't even know if that's a popular pick. I feel like it was a really, really, really cool stand, the way it played out, and our slow understanding of it. Hawkbox says, flash your 8-pack abs from your HelloFresh meal preps. I do not have an 8-pack. Yeah, people like that stand, right? Hujin Dong says, why is it your favorite stand? I don't want to say, I'm not gonna elaborate just because I don't want to spoil people, potentially, like, even if I try to be vague about it. Um, I just thought that, I guess simplest way to say is I thought that the concept and our gradual realization of what it was and like the full understanding of what it entails, I thought was really, really, really cool. That's pretty much it. I thought that the concept was one of the coolest. I think that the concept is the coolest in JoJo's. The most fun for me, the most fun thing to fight against. Yeah, that's it. And it plays into the ideas of that part particularly really well. Yeah, a lot of people, like Julian is saying, a lot of people don't like the final villain of Part 8. It's hard to explain. I am of the opinion that I think that how do I say this? I like the Part 8 villain. I think Part 7 has the best villain, period. Best written villain, period. I thought Part 8's villain. How much do you tie stand to the villain? Because in JoJo's, so much is relevant to the stand, right? If it's got a really interesting stand, it feels like a really interesting obstacle. So my favorite stand, I therefore I can't say it's a villain I disliked. And actually, I think it's like once I've kind of accepted that I wasn't liking a lot of things towards the ending of Part 8, I thought the villain was cool, right? Maybe not the deepest or most well written or compared to Part 7, but the villain is really cool to me, even if The setup and introduction and incorporation is not great. The villain is cool and fun to follow, and entertaining, and keeps you on your toes, and brings a different vibe, in my opinion. And of course, the stand is awesome. That's pretty much it. I'm going to try not to say anything more. Julia Gonzalez says, Yo, Morj, I loved your Chainsaw Man video on Manga Morj. Thank you, appreciate it. Iker Sanudo says, I think Nen has a really superficially complex rule and look and rule set, but is actually just whatever the author feels like doing. I think that there is some merit to that statement. I think there's definitely some merit to that statement because one of the things about Nen is that, like, I think if you have a complex rule system, you need to keep incorporating parts, like, you need to keep incorporating the whole rule set, right? Because otherwise it's just adding more rules and then only focusing on or addressing the ones that, like, feel relevant at a given point in the fight. But, like, I just don't think that's, like, I don't think Nen needs all the rules that it needs because the author doesn't even address many, like, a lot of aspects of it just aren't relevant. Like, when was the last time you heard certain Nen terms, you know? Like, in combat, in the story, period. In the last, like, 40 chapters, right? There's certain things that are important. Is me saying the word Zetsu a spoiler? I don't think that matters, right? There's certain things that he keys in on and he's like, okay, this will just be a recurring thing that's important. Like, let's say Zetsu or whatever. Sure. But then, like, there's fucking 10 other terms that you just don't seem to matter, period, or whatever. I'd say the 6 types matter. Like, the 6 types of Nen. But beyond that, like, a lot of it's, like, technicalities that, like, once it's established and set into the story, they're just not addressed again, and it's just assumed that every character is using it, right? Like Zetsu, N to a degree, these keep coming up or whatever, but, like, when's the last time we fucking talked about Ko, you know? And we spent fucking all one arc, like, mastering a lot of shit that was being taught to them. You know, the arc after you were new. Like, a lot of it's not relevant. Bobby Lara Lee says, I forgot what Zetsu is. Well, there we go. Guess it's not even that important. Chiluxarita says, no, even the 6 types don't matter. All that matters is specialists, not equals the other 5. Also, you can't disarm a conjurer. There's an argument to that. I don't know. Isn't Zetsu that cactus guy from Naruto, says Khalid Suleiman. Fogang says, what are your opinions on the current Chainsaw Man manga? A lot of people aren't happy with it. I think part 2 is better than part 1. Or it's shaping up to be. It's obviously not reached anywhere near the highs of part 1. But I'm saying, like, comparing how part 1, like, in terms of flow of the story, I think part 2 is clearly better than where part 1 was at a similar point. And I think it's doing a lot of things better. And that's actually the next video that I'm putting out. I do think that some of the dialogue in the last 2 chapters in particular doesn't feel like Chainsaw Man, actually, because it feels like it's slipping into some kind of really stereotypical scenes that you see from, like, so many anime and so many shonen. But it's still got the Chainsaw Man feel to most of how it's doing everything. But, yeah, I'd say the last 2 the last 2 chapters, maybe. I think I haven't loved, but I think it's important for setup. It just feels like a little more generic than, like, it doesn't feel like a Chainsaw Man set. It feels like something I've seen, like, in, like, every other series, basically. But if I compare, like, chapter 113, without spoiling anything, basically, chapter 113, how that chapter played out was, like, perfect Chainsaw Man to me. Like, fucking hilarious, fucking great, weird, offbeat character interactions that are just, like, slightly bizarre and slightly off and, like, weirdly, deliberately stilted. I love chapter 113. You guys can go check what that was if you need a reminder. But the last 2 I didn't love. Eric saying, what's up, Eric? Eric Trolado saying, how do you feel about Denji's odd relation with spoilers at the end of the story? Odd relation with spoilers at the end of the story. I don't love that, but we gotta see. Like, you're saying at the end, like, chapter 97? Yeah, I don't like chapter 97 personally. I appreciated its message a bit more on reread, but I don't like his odd relation with spoilers at the end. But we need to see how that's incorporated into part 2. I guess. But I don't love everything about Chainsaw Man. But it is my favorite thing to read right now, and like all of the things that I like about it are they fall into such a different category than anything else that I'm reading right now or that I see around that it just like is so much more enjoyable to me basically than any things I don't particularly care for. Like the thing that I'm saying I didn't enjoy about the last two chapters is that it feels like the dialogue and the setup feels very similar to kind of like what I've seen from most other series, which just doesn't feel like Chainsaw Man. All right. Yeah, California Penguin says 113 was amazing. Yeah, like chapter 113, like I just don't read that. Like I don't think there's other manga that I've read that have like that same type of comedy. It's a very distinctly non-Japanese, like non-traditional manga anime style of comedy. Like I think One Piece is like got a lot of like series like One Piece, Gintama, etc. Those are like definition of like what I expect out of like Japanese anime type comedy, right? Beelzebub, stuff like that, right? Chainsaw Man's its own category of like just weird, absurdist, like almost monotone in a sense sort of humor. Um, feels more. It feels like its own thing. Like chapter 113 was like a perfect chapter in terms of like what I expect of like the very distinct Chainsaw Man type of dialogue, interactions, offbeat, strange pacing, right? Like all of that. That's what I love 113 for, right? That's what I consider like Chainsaw Man actually at its best. So I think there's still examples of the series like being really good right now, and honestly, I think better than the early parts of Part One. John678 says hockey plus. This will probably be the last super I read. John678 says hockey plus devil fruit is greater than Nen and Stan. Nen, Stans, and Chakra combined. Why are we talking about JoJo's and Lunter Lunter instead of Peak Piece? I don't know. The conversation just drifted there. We talked about One Piece for most of the like first hour and a half, pretty much. Yeah, conversation just drifted there. I don't know. I'm not interested in comparing the power systems or whatever. It's just that's like a whole long-winded discussion that would take longer than I think right now. All right. Not to say One Piece isn't funny and Gintama's not funny. I think One Piece is fucking hilarious, and like the funniest parts of One Piece have like I don't know. I think like I think One Piece when it really gets time to breathe and let its gags play out and stuff like that. Like you remember like when Luffy's fighting Foxy and we just get like full pages and stuff devoted to gags playing out of like Luffy running downstairs, seeing Foxy dressed up as a chef, then as his sister and stuff like stuff like that. I don't think we're gonna get peak One Piece comedy anymore just because there's not time devoted to full scenes like that. But when Oda does get like a little breathing room, like I thought that the interactions post Luffy's bounty were really funny, right? Like uh, when they're all getting angry at Zoro and everything like that. I don't think Oda's got time to let full comedy scenes and like full comedy setups like the Foxy scene or Duval or them meeting Crocus. Like there's just no time for that. So the most you can do is like dialogue bits and stuff that go by pretty quick. But I still think One Piece is really funny. Anyway, I think we're all good for this stream. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. And yeah, everybody have a good New Year. A very happy New Year. I will not be able to do a New Year's Eve stream. I was hoping to do one early in the day on December 31st, but I will be flying on that day, and then I have stuff in the evening, assuming my flight gets back in time for actually celebrating New Year's. So no New Year's Eve stream. Consider this a makeup because we got the chapter early, and yeah, I'll talk to you all later. Thanks for tuning in.